This is the Sony Alpha 7C2. I picked it up because I kept leaving my bigger camera at home and missing shots. I wanted a full-frame setup that I'd actually carry every day, and after a few trips with the original A7C and a couple of paid gigs on the A7 IV, I felt like there was a gap. I wanted the image quality and color from the newer Sony bodies, but in a small, uncomplicated package that didn't fight me. In Sony's lineup, this sits as the compact, rangefinder-style body with serious performance. It's not the cheapest option, and it's not the big pro rig either. It feels aimed at people like me, who shoot both photos and video, care about autofocus and color, and want something light enough to live in a sling bag. If you need 2 card slots and a huge viewfinder, there are other bodies for that. If you want portability without stepping down to smaller sensors, this one makes a lot of sense. The biggest change for me in real use is how often I take it with me. I toss it in a small bag with the 40mm f2.5G or the 24mm f2.8G and it disappears. That alone means I'm shooting more. On a weekend trip, I walked all day, grabbed spontaneous portraits and some low-light city scenes after dinner without feeling like I was dragging a brick around. The body is sturdy, the buttons have a better click than the original A7C, and the front dial finally makes exposure adjustments feel natural. My pinky still has nowhere to go with heavier lenses, so I added a small baseplate grip, which solves the comfort issue without turning the camera into a big block. Autofocus is where this camera earns its keep. The AI tracking feels like cheating in the best way. I use tracking, spot, and it sticks even when a subject walks behind a pole, or turns away, or I'm shooting through a crowd. I've had it lock onto boards reliably, and it nails eye focus on people in backlit scenes where older bodies would hunt. It actually lets me think about framing and timing instead of babysitting a focus point. That reduction in mental load is hard to quantify, but it's the difference between getting the shot and just missing it. Image quality is exactly what I wanted. The files have enough resolution to crop without feeling guilty, and the color out of camera is friendlier than older Sonys I've owned. For video, the 4K at normal frame rates looks clean and detailed, and the 10-bit files grade nicely. S-Cinetone is my go-to when I want a quick turnaround without heavy color work, and it looks great on faces in mixed light. When I need more flexibility, S-Log3 behaves the way I expect. Focus breathing compensation is a quiet hero for interview setups, and the auto-framing feature is surprisingly useful when I'm filming myself and want a subtle reframe without a second person behind the camera. There are real limitations you should know about. 4K 60 uses a crop, so a 20mm starts behaving more like a standard wide. If I'm vlogging at arm's length, I switch to something wider or just step back. The EVF is small and feels tunnel-like compared to the A7 IV. I use it, but I rely on the flip-out screen more than on my larger body. Rolling shutter is there if I whip pan or use the electronic shutter for fast action, so I stick to mechanical, EFCS, and smoother moves. And 4K 60 recording in a warm room will warm the camera up too. With the screen flipped out and the temperature setting on high, I can get a decent stretch, but I treat 60p as a clip tool, not a continuous interview setting. For 4K 30, I've had no trouble in normal conditions. Battery life on the NPF C100 is fine for a day of street shooting, and mixed photo-video days are manageable if I bring a power bank. USB-C power delivery is clutch. I've topped up between locations and even run it while recording. The single UHS 2 slot on the side is easy to access on a tripod, but it does mean I won't use this as my only body at a paid event. For personal work and travel, it's totally fine, and I back up cards whenever I can. I wish it had full-size HDMI, but the micro HDMI gets me by with care. The fact that I can plug it into a computer and use it as a clean webcam without extra gear has been useful more than once. Compared to my old A7C, this is the version that finally feels complete. The front dial fixes the control gripe. The menus are modern and touch-friendly. The AF is leagues better, and the color gives me less work in post. Compared to the A7 IV, the A7C2 is just easier to carry, and I end up shooting more with it. The A7 IV still wins for dual slots, a bigger EVF, and comfort with heavier glass, and it handles long recordings better. But in actual image quality, I don't feel like I'm giving up anything meaningful on the A7C2. That's why this has become my default daily camera, and the A7 IV is the one I bring when I know I need redundancy and a larger grip. The benefits that matter to me are simple. I bring it with me, which means I actually make photos and video instead of wishing I had. The autofocus lets me trust the camera in situations where I used to stress. And the files, stills and 10-bit video, are flexible enough that I can deliver the look I want, whether I'm shooting quick travel clips or a more considered piece. On value, if you want a compact full frame that you'll carry everywhere and you care about reliable AF and usable color, this is worth it. If your work needs 2 card slots, a larger EVF, or you're recording long 4K 60 sessions all the time, consider a bigger body. For me, the trade-offs are worth it because this camera removes the friction of size and lets me focus on the moment. I'm keeping the A7C II as my everyday and travel setup, pairing it with small primes most of the time and a compact zoom when needed. If you have questions about lenses or settings that worked for me, or want to know how it handled a specific scenario, drop a comment. If this video helped, subscribe for more honest, real-world reviews and field notes. Thank you for watching.